Hi there ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Random Geek channel. And I'll be continuing with my review of the DJI Osmo Pocket. So firstly, if you missed my unboxing and first impressions video, that would be a great place to start. I'll just give you a heads up that I will be updating that playlist as I go along. And for those guys who are new to the channel, welcome. And what I do is I review the best budget gadgets and techs out there. And so what I talk about is basically gadgets and techs that you've probably never heard of and that you probably didn't know that you actually needed. So before we go into this review series, unfortunately it is going to be a review series, but that's basically what I do, because I do have a lot to talk about, especially with this one here, is I thought I'd make a video about the activation process of this device. And simply put, the quick start guide and the manual that you get online is absolutely horrible. So the documentation, it's pretty much bare bones and it's confusing as hell. Like most DJI products, there is an actual process in which you do have to go through, and I'd spent a little time figuring it out. It didn't work the first time, and I'm pretty sure if it took me a while to work out, I'm not the only one out there. So I thought I'll make a video just to help anyone who's having a bit of issues as well. So unfortunately I didn't record the full activation process because I thought that it was going to be relatively easy. But what I am going to do is I'm actually going to run through exactly what you have to do and in which order that you have to do it, because if you do put it out of sequence, it will not work. And plus I wasn't going to upload that video even if I had, because there was a lot of bad language in there and I'm pretty sure I don't want to strike. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be running through plain and simple what you have to do. So first things first, if you guys think that you're actually going to use this camera without activating it, you're going to be sorely out of luck, because pretty much almost all the features of the camera do not work unless you activate the camera. So pretty much it's feature locked. And that's because you do have to register the camera with the DJI service and the actual mobile phone that you're actually using. The good thing is you can use a singular DJI account. So first thing you need to do is you need to download the app. So I'll just let my camera focus back here. So in terms of the app, what you're going to be downloading is the DJI Mimo app. So that's spelled M-I-M-O. So you can do this of three ways. First thing, you can use the QR code to download the app, and you can find that on three parts. First thing, you can do it on the camera. So on the base of the camera, there's, if you can see, I might turn on the lighting on the camera actually. On the base, there's a QR code which you can scan, and that will bring you to the actual app. There's one on the box itself, in right here, and there's also one in the quick start guide. So if you flip it over, there's an actual QR code there. Personally myself, I've never had luck with scanning the QR codes. It's maybe because I live in Australia, it just doesn't work. And that's not just with this camera, I've used it on my DJI drones. I've never been able to get any of them working. So this is kind of useless, so I'm going to check that aside. So we're going to focus, so we'll put that box aside as well, is basically the camera. So what you're going to do is you're going to search for it either on the App Store if you're using iOS, or the Google Play Store. So just search DJI Mimo app and it should come up. I don't know why DJI actually does this. They do have multiple apps for each of their devices. I'm not too sure why they've got that. I just wish that they've actually made a singular device, an actual app which you can activate all their devices in one, and like if you had a easy pull down actual tab and you can select your device like in their DJI 4 app, but unfortunately you are going to have a separate app for this camera alone. So regardless of which platform that you download your app on, so on your mobile phone, your tablet or whatever, first things first, do it on Wi-Fi. The app that you need to download is about 190 megs. So it's not too big if you're on Wi-Fi, but I know some people are on limited mobile plans, so keep that in mind if you are going to be downloading it. And that's just the base app. Once you download the app, there are several updates that you do have to run as well. So if you're on Wi-Fi, that's going to speed that process up, and it won't cost you a pretty penny on your mobile bill. Second thing is the mobile phone that you're going to be installing the app on. So what I'm using a spare mobile phone. So this is an old Huawei phone that I'll be using. I do tend to have like multiple phones on with me, just how I roll really. So make sure that you are using a device which is either USB-C or a Lightning port compatible. That's because the adapters that you get is only USB-C and a Lightning adapter. Unfortunately, this does not work with micro USB phones. So if you are using mid-tier phone or budget phone, or if you're using an older phone, it's not going to work. And even if you have to get adapters to USB-C to micro USB or Lightning and to micro USB, the camera will not recognize and your mobile phone won't recognize it. Just be a heads up that just make sure if you are using an older phone, maybe upgrade to a newer one, or make sure that the phone that you're using is either one of those two compatible ports. So, kind of annoying is that the actual adapter. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So in terms of the actual adapters, these are proprietary by DJI. I understand that companies do need to make money, and they want to sell accessories and stuff. But given the age of USB-C, I'm not sure why you would be so anti-consumerism in terms of this case. These things are really tiny as well, so you will lose things. So connection port is underneath this cover here, so you can see it's on rails. You can actually slide it off, so you will see the proprietary connector on this camera. So basically what you have, this is where your adapter goes. So I've got the USB-C adapter here, and because I've been using it on a USB-C phone, so what this device actually uses is you've got an 8-pin pogo connector here, but on the adapter itself you've only got a 4 pogo and I'm assuming that's a charge slot there, so like a bit of metal there. So the thing with these things here, they are really tiny. So you can see, just like Apple AirPods, you are going to lose these. So you're bound to get it lost. And unfortunately, there isn't a slot in the included case to put them anywhere. So let's have a think about that. So maybe something that DJI might think about when making their generation 2 of this device, if they ever go down that track, maybe put a little slot where you can store these adapters, because these are tiny. You'll throw them in your camera bag and you will lose them. So I don't know why they haven't put an actual slot there, because if you use their DJI drones, for the drones, the actual joysticks come off, and on the actual controllers you can slot them into 2 slots on the handles, and you can store them away so you won't lose them. These ones you are going to lose. So hopefully might fix it up for generation 2, or maybe there might be a third party solution there. So if you guys know of a good third party case, give me a heads up down in the comments below, because I would like to check that out, because this thing is going to come with a lot of accessories as well. And also this thing, you are going to lose that. It's small pretty insignificant, but if you aren't using your adapters, you want to slide it on to actually protect it. And also, I've got a couple of scratches on it already. I've only got this the other day, and yeah, not sure about the actual plastics that they use on the camera. Anyway, I'm going to put that aside, but make sure that I don't lose that. Okay, so in the meantime, what you can do is a little trick to store these things so you don't lose them. Is normally you would actually slot these in here to slide into the adapter. Make sure that it goes on the actual rails, and these are actually quite tight. But you will hear a noticeable clicking noise. It just happened just before when it's actually slotted in. So you do have to apply a bit of actual pressure. But what you can do if you're not using it is, see there's a small depression on this side here. What you can do is you can reverse. I'm just going to put this down for a second. Is you can reverse this thing so you can store it a bit easier. So what you're going to do instead is, rather than slotting it the proper way, is you're going to slot it this way. And what you're going to get is you could be able to store at least one of the adapters on the camera that way, so you're not going to lose it. And the great thing is you can actually store it in the camera case, and it fits perfectly. So, but it doesn't change the actual fact that if you are going to use like multiple phones, or you're going to use or you're going to be switching from like an iPhone and an Android phone, you're going to be carrying only one of these in this case. And yeah, a bit of an oversight. Probably what I'll do is I'll probably buy a bag smart camera bag, and I'm going to throw all my accessories in there and carry it around. But it kind of beats the purpose, because this thing is supposed to be small. You're supposed to throw this in there and throw it in your pocket and forget about it. And when you need a camera, you're going to pull it out and off you go. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this out and attach the right way. As you see, it's very, very tight, so be careful when you are pulling it out. And you'll hear that clicking noise. See, I've just dropped it down. Nice that it's tight, but also it's not very user friendly. See, a bit of pressure onto the sides, and it should snap in. There, snapped in right there. Okay, so once we've had that set up, we're gonna go through the proper sequence of how to set up the camera. And it's very important that you do it in the proper sequence. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a second, and I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, and welcome back. So I have my mobile phone here ready to go, and I'm going to run through exactly what to do. So first things, you have the camera. Make sure that you've got the adapter on first, and what you're going to do is you're going to start up the camera. So what you've got here is a button here, and this is your function power / back button. So it's a multifunctional button, does a lot of things. You can switch through menus here, and you can also start up the device. And if you're in a menu, you can actually get out of it by pressing that button. And also, if you press this multiple times, it does different things. Like tapping it 3 times will reset the camera the other way around. So first things first is you're going to turn on the camera, and you do that by holding the power button, and you will get the initial startup. So you see the actual gimbal move there. That's the startup process. Same thing happens on the DJI drones. So if you buy one of the drones, you start it up, does the exact same thing when it's starting up. It's pretty cool, really. The next thing you want to do is you will get into a menu to the start screen. Because I've already set this up, it's actually bypassed that and it's gone directly into the camera. But what you're going to get first is a selection for your starting language. So the options you've got is in French, English, you've got simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese, you've got Japanese, you have German, and you have Korean. So quite a lot of options there to select. Obviously I'm using it in English, so I just chose actual English. After the language selection screen, if you notice, you will notice if you haven't activated the camera, is there will be a big giant message on the bottom, well, smallish message because the screen's so small, is that the camera hasn't been activated. This is very important because without activating, you cannot do anything with the camera. And what I mean by that is with the touchscreen, if you slide the actual touchscreen, you can get into options, access your files, access the recording modes that you've got, and also things like setting up the gimbal modes and active tracking. All of that is locked because when you swipe on the screen in those 4 directions, what you will get the exact same screen saying the device hasn't been activated and the features cannot be used. So if you think about pulling this out from the box and using it straight away, sorry to ruin the party. It's not gonna happen. And basically that renders this camera useless. So please activate your camera because you're gonna have a expensive weight pretty much on your desk. Also, the thing that I did mention, you probably should do before you do this, is charge the camera. I completely forgot about that. It only comes roughly about half charged in the box, and that's not going to take you through the entire initiation process. So just give a heads up. Also, it's slow charging as well. It only takes up to 10 watts. And at 50%, it took me roughly 50 minutes to get a full charge on the camera, and it does not do fast charging. I tried pretty much every single fast charging format I could try. It does not work. So just a heads up, charge the camera to 100% before you run this process. The reason why you want to do that, it does drain the battery very quickly, especially when you're setting it up and running the firmware updates as well. So just keep that in mind.
12 seconds later.
Okay, so next thing you want to do is you want to attach the camera to your mobile phone, especially the phone that you've installed the app, so even though that's going to be pointless. So what I've got is a spare mobile phone that I've got here on my old Huawei phone, but a good thing is it's got USB Type-C, and I've got the DJI Mimo app installed there. So what we're going to do is I might turn up the brightness of the screen so you can see it a bit better. So that's full on brightness there, and I've got the app on another screen. So what you're going to do is the app should automatically launch when you attach the camera to the device. So make sure that this is the last thing you do or it just won't work. There we go. It launches directly into the app. So we're going to put this down for just a second. We're going to hang it there. And we're going to have a little talk about what actually happens. So first things first, when you initially attach the camera to the app, it will go into the activation screen. So the activation screen, it basically tells you, would you like to activate the device. The one thing that I didn't notice with the Mimo app was it was in a collaboration with a company that I didn't expect, and that was Moment. For those who aren't aware who Moment are, they're pretty much a pretty big name in the lenses space. So what they do is they specialize in camera accessories, and particular lenses and filters, and they do that for your mirrorless, your DSLR cameras, your drones, and your action cameras, and they do make a set for the Osmo Pocket. So might be looking into that because I think they do have a set of NV filters for this camera, and that might be something that I might go down and have a look at. So first things first, what you do is you're going to be faced with your standard end user license agreement and the terms and conditions of use. So pretty standard affair, and you will have to agree to it to proceed. Next screen that you'll get to is to activate the Pocket, and there'll be a small little swipe tab on the screen, and you swipe it on. You have to agree to that to proceed as well. So basically what that screen states is it asks you to allow permission for DJI to obtain the device information to authenticate with their service. So pretty much to make sure that you've bought or authentic camera, and also it's obviously data collection as well. So what they are collecting is basically your phone details, your firmware details on the camera. So there's separate firmwares for the camera, for the gimbal, and for the software. and also for device ID, which is separate for every single camera. So you will be asked to register or to log in with a DJI account. So if you don't have an account, just sign in with your email or your phone number and just set up a it's just your basic standard sign up, pretty much your details, where you live, and pretty much everything else. If you do have an existing one, which is lucky for me because I've been flying their drones forever, I've just used that one account, and the good thing is you can use that one account amongst all the actual apps, which is okay, but I wish they just had a singular app to make it easier, because I just want to load up one and access all my devices, but maybe in the future. Alright, so during that actual process, what you are going to get is another screen, and it's going to talk about their standard DJI improvement program. So basically, like any other major company, it's basically a collection of data for errors and bugs, and it just helps them make the actual software better, which is a good idea because this has received multiple updates over the last year or so. So I don't know about you, but I've signed up for it. You can opt out if you wish. It will also ask for access for your phone storage and your location on your phone, so app permissions. So just a heads up. So in terms of the access to your phone storage, the good thing about this camera when connected with your mobile phone, if you do run out of memory on your camera, what it will do is it will switch over to your mobile phone's internal memory and use that as storage as well. Unfortunately, that is only locked at 1080p for now, but at least you're not losing footage, and 1080p footage is better than no footage at all. Also, if you are using the app to edit, it will need access to the camera storage, because it needs to transfer that video footage over to the camera, and that's why it's asking for the permissions there, and obviously its location information, because you can upload this up to the DJI service for other people to use the footage, or if you want to link it up to social media platforms. So with a little luck, this should set up the camera and activate the camera. It does take a little while, okay? And so this is minus, so unlike with the DJI drones, when you do set them up, you normally have a multitude of updates. You have a calibration, you do have to calibrate the magnetic field and the compass and stuff. So there is a calibration setup in this camera, but I'm not going to talk about it yet, because I'll talk about it in my run through part of the review. So just drop my notes there. But that's in another video. So this is pretty much the end of my video here. It's pretty much just to help those guys who have a bit of issues setting it up, and just some little things that I've noticed about the camera while playing around with it. So hopefully someone out there found that helpful. I wish someone ran that through here. There are helpful tutorials in the actual app, but most people aren't going to realize that you need to download the actual app to access those videos. You can search those videos on YouTube, but they're pretty much rudimentary, and I'll be going through a lot more detail about what the settings are and what they do, rather than a rather lackluster video tutorial or no documentation from DJI. So, but then again, most people who buy these cameras are pretty used to using cameras. But then again, there's a lot of people out there who probably got this as a Christmas gift, or or if they bought it on Black Friday or an impulse buy, and they're probably new to gimbals and cameras alone. This might help them out a bit, maybe not. If it just helps one person, then I'm happy that this video is out there. So in the next video, what I'll be doing is I'll be running through the specs of the actual camera. We're going to start looking at some features, what you can be using, and some settings. So as I said before, this is going to be a multi-part review, like my projector review. We're going to go do in the nitty little details on pretty much everything. And we'll be running video tests and all sorts. So hopefully you guys stick around. I will be updating the actual playlist as per normal. So I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, like, comment or subscribe. Smash that notification bell to join the community. Our little community is expanding, slowly but surely, but it's more than I've ever had. And yeah, my wife hates me talking about tech anyway. And it's nice to have people out there who do find my videos helpful. So thumbs up for that. And cheerio guys, and Random Geek out. Cheers.
20 minutes later.
Hey guys, back. Just a little PS, but I did forget to actually mention, if you are attaching this little dongle onto the camera and you're going to be attaching it to your mobile phone, make sure that your mobile phone is out of its mobile phone case. These USB adapters are only so long, so about 6 to 7 millimeters protruding, I believe. And if you have a mobile phone case, it's not going to hook up cleanly onto the device. And so if you're wondering if your camera is not working, that's probably a reason why. As a person who uses rugged cases all the time, I did find out the hard way. So make sure that you take it out of your mobile phone case and it should work perfectly. Okay guys, cheers.